Hey, Grandpa.
Oh, hello. How may I help you, my grandson?
Well, I was wondering if you could tell me about the times when you were younger. I am really interested.
My grandson, when I was younger, our family faced a lot of hardship and tragedies.
Could you tell me more about them?
If you insist. When I was at your age, Singapore was going through some rough times. One of those times were during the Japanese occupation.
Japanese occupation. Why did the Japanese invade Singapore?
Back then, I didn't know either. But I can tell you that the Chinese suffered a lot. The Japanese were convinced that they were anti-Japanese as China was still at war with Japan during that time. As such, they tried their best to track down all those against them.
That sounds very cruel.
Indeed. But what they did to us is far beyond cruel. The Chinese men, women and children were brought to screening centers. These centers served as a place for interrogation and torture for the Chinese. I knew about this through a friend of mine and decided it was best to disguise myself. I had planned to disguise myself as an Indian or Malay citizen.
That's smart thinking there, Grandpa.
Unfortunately, I was brought in before I could carry it out. I was brought to one of those screening centers and was detained for weeks until my interrogation was complete. They deemed me as a threat to them. No matter how I had explained myself, they did not believe that I was not involved in any anti-Japanese activities. In the end, I was pushed into a truck filled with others and we moved off. I was scared, no, in fact, terrified. We could not utter a word as we sat there awaiting our fates, which was most likely death.
What happened next, Grandpa? Tell me quickly.
Then, out of nowhere, I hear gunshots. Loud and clear. Screaming and shouting.
Were they killing people indiscriminately?
Yes. Fast and efficient was what they used to say in the army. The Japanese didn't want any resistance during their rule in Singapore.
But killing was never the answer.
I agree, but the Japanese begged to defer. Once we reached our destination, we were ordered off the vehicle. We did so quickly. I looked around and noticed that we were at a beach. It was dark, so I couldn't see much of the surroundings. I was roughly pushed towards the seashore where I stumbled over multiple bodies. It could have been tens, even hundreds. It was gruesome.
100. I think you are exaggerating, Grandpa.
I'm not. What I say is the truth, my grandson. I am, in no way, exaggerating.
I'm sorry I doubted you, Grandpa. I want to hear the rest of the story.
All right. The Japanese soldiers were fierce, brutal even. I knew that I was going to be shot. Their intentions were to kill, I know it. I had only seconds to come up with a plan to live. They lined us up along the seashore. It was very dark by then. It was like a nightmare. I heard the soldiers taking aim. I knew that my time was up. I was going to die.
So, Grandpa, did you came up with a genius plan in time that allowed you to escape the Japanese, and that's why you are here today, right?
Yes, you know me well. As I was standing there, I thought to myself that maybe, just maybe, I could fall backwards into the sea and swim away from the massacre. This all depended on whether I would be lucky enough to have the bullet miss any of my vital organs. I prayed hard. When the time came, I was shot in the shoulder.
In the shoulder? That was a close call.
Indeed. I immediately fell back as I had planned and attempted to swim away. But it was really hard swimming with one arm. I knew I was losing blood quickly and I had to surface regularly to breathe. I made a sharp turn to the left and swam as fast as my tired body could withstand.
Grandpa, you were amazing. No man could have endured so much.
The combined anger and hatred for the Japanese pushed me forward. Mind you, I have no hard feelings against the Japanese today. I believe that they were just soldiers following orders to do so.
That is clearly not the case, Grandpa. The Japanese are bad people. Now I see that.
No, my grandson. We are human beings. Mistakes are to be forgiven.
I'm sorry, Grandpa.
It is all right. Carrying on. I found land and made my way through the thick forest. I soon discovered a street and tried to find my way around. I had to get medical care, and soon I knocked on the doors of houses that were along the street. It was beneficially dark, so I was quite hard to spot by the patrolling Japanese soldiers. I fortunately found a very nice lady who managed to escape the Japanese interrogation through the method I thought of. She dressed my wounds.
Where did you go from there, Grandpa?
I did not know. I had problems surfacing in my mind. The kind lady allowed me to stay for a day or two, but was extended to 4. She was nice beyond her bearings. I knew I could not work as a Chinese middleman anymore, as I had to communicate with possible Japanese clients. So, I intended to work as a coolie. I was lucky, for I am one of few who survived this killing. We lost a big part of our family during that period, including my brother. You would have loved to meet him.
I feel sorry for you, Grandpa. I can't imagine how much pain you felt to lose a family member, let alone multiple family members.
This period was later known as the Sook Ching massacre. My grandson, I hope now you know that nothing can be accomplished through killing. Nothing.
Thank you for telling me that story, Grandpa. I love you.
I love you too, my grandson.